30 of them. And remember, this is despite them being supported by the umpires, by the election commission, by the establishment. And so the only way they want to now allow the elections to take place is that I should be in jail or I should be disqualified, because they do not want me in the election race. And hence these cases, and hence this crackdown on my entire party, where thousands are in jail, and either they're underground or they're in jail.
It does seem like anyone who interviews you or visits you is charged with terrorism. I guess my question is, am I a terrorist now for talking to you, like for interviewing you in this way? Like, am I allowed to come to Pakistan at some point?
Well, Jeremy, right now, if you're a journalist and you talk about me positively, you will be in trouble. 4 of our top journalists, 4 have left the country. One is on this panel right now, Mohit Pirzada. But then one of our best last year, he was slapped with sedition cases and so on, and he had to leave the country, and then he was murdered in Kenya. And I think that's one of the most tragic things that happened, because he was our best investigative journalist. Meanwhile, the other outstanding journalist in our country, because he was our best highest investigative journalist, YouTube, he's disappeared for 2 months. So, no one knows. Yeah, Imran Riaz, he's disappeared, and his wife and his children, what they must be going through right now. When you don't know where they are, if you know they're in prison, at least you know where they are. But when they disappear, I think people go through the worst nightmare, as his family is going through.
One of the strangest parts, I was reading all about like the crackdown on PTI. One of the weirdest parts of this is that it's actually illegal in the media for people to say their name or show your picture. Is that true?
Well, they've been threatened. The media houses and the top anchors were all called in a meeting. The meeting was very short, 4 minutes, I'm told, and they were ordered that my name was not even to be mentioned on the media.
And so people are resorting to, calling you Qasim's father or other sorts of codes for speaking about you, I believe.
It's, Jeremy, if it wasn't so tragic, it's very funny what's going on. But it is tragic because, our media, in the last 20 years especially, it really became very vibrant. In fact, went overboard at times. But, the media was able to create this sort of public awareness about political issues that never existed before. And that's the only way someone like me, an outsider, was able to win the elections. My party only grew because of the free media, the vibrant media. And so, the pillars of democracy, one is the free media, the other is independent justice system. Same thing happened with our judiciary. In 2007, this movement started called the lawyers' movement. And the whole idea was that we needed to have an independent justice system. So we were progressing towards a genuine democracy. And then comes this situation right now where we now have, the worst type of martial law. I mean, it's an undeclared martial law right now, where basically there is no democracy left in Pakistan.
क्या आप शुगर के मरीज़ हैं और आपके एनर्जी लेवल्स जो हैं इस वजह से बहुत ज़्यादा लो रहते हैं, आप हर वक्त थकावट का शिकार रहते हैं, आपके हाथों और पाँव में बहुत ज़्यादा सुइयाँ चुभती हैं, तो ये वीडियो आपके लिए है। अस्सलाम वालेकुम, मैं हूँ ज़ैनब गुंदल, मैं क्लिनिकल डाइटिशियन, न्यूट्रिशनिस्ट और फूड टेक्नोलॉजिस्ट हूँ।
Well, General Musharraf's martial law, and that was from 1999 to 2008. Now, I was his opponent. I was in the opposition. I went to jail for about 7-8 days during his martial law. But I'm telling you, that was liberal compared to what is going on right now. I mean, this is, I feel as if it's like, what people must have felt in Stalin's Soviet Union or Nazi Germany. I mean, people get picked up in the middle of the night. If they're not there, their relatives get picked up. Their houses get broken. They get robbed. Their businesses are shut. And this is anyone who has anything to do with PTI. I'm not even talking about the senior leadership. And it's happening to the workers. I mean, it's never happened in our country before. Totally, the media is controlled. The judiciary is under extreme pressure. And I must say, some of the judges, despite the pressure, are sort of giving us whatever little relief we get. But I mean, all civil liberties have gone out of the window.
Now, talk me through the events of I believe, May 9th, where you reported to the Supreme Court and you were abducted inside of the Supreme Court, correct?
Well, I was sitting within the precincts of the Islamabad High Court, and I was sitting there to get my bail, or various bails, because every day I have my going to courts is like people going to the office. So every day I have to go to one court or the other when you have over 180 cases. So I was sitting there, and suddenly, I'm sitting in the registry office, and suddenly I see these commandos. Really, they weren't even rangers, they were commandos. And I thought, first of all, because my life is at risk according to the government, my life is at great risk. So the courts had asked them to give me protection. So I thought these guys had come to protect me, that there might be some terrorist hold up there. And then I discovered it was me who they were after. And so they really broke in, they beat up everyone. They beat up the lawyers, the staff there. They then dragged me out like I was some sort of a terrorist. And it was all illegal. And later declared by the Supreme Court of Pakistan, declared it unconstitutional and illegal, the way they abducted me. And of course, those images, when they went out, it had a reaction.
Right. And so 4 days later, you're released from jail because the abduction was deemed illegal. And you found out that during those 4 days, there had been protests, there had been violence. And what was your reaction?
Well, when I was asked by the Supreme Court, they told them to bring me to the Supreme Court. So from the prison, I went to Supreme Court. And the first time I discovered that there had been violence was when the Chief Justice asked me, that he said, "Do you condone this violence?" So I had no idea that there had been violence. I expected there would have been protests. But, when I was shot, and about 11 of our people had bullet wounds, one of the bystanders was killed. Even then there were protests, but there was no violence or there was no arson. So I was quite shocked when I was told by the Supreme Court, and I immediately, of course, condemned it. Because in my 27 years, I've always urged my party always to remain within the Constitution, our right for peaceful protest, but never violence. So as things unfolded, Jeremy, unfortunately later on, we discovered that these people were embedded within us. And the ones who indulged in arson were not PTI people. They were people who were specially embedded within our ranks, and they are the ones who indulged in violence. And since then, we've been calling for an independent investigation, but we're not getting it. Because we can prove, if there was an independent investigation, we can prove that these guys were not part of our party, because our party had never believed in violence. But unfortunately, that was used as a pretext. We feel it was pre-planned, the whole thing. Within 48 hours, 10,000 of our followers were put in prison. This can't happen unless it's pre-planned. You can't just go and pick up 10,000 people. So all this was planned. Senior leadership was put in jail, and the rest just went underground. So it was used as a pretext to dismantle the party.
Now, normally these are the kind of things that would come up during the civilian trial, where they have people defending them. But that I'm being told that's not what the plan is.